Yo, 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 what's up, everyone? This is Dojo, community manager for the TPA Ambasstronauts fan club. This, of course, is the Polish Ambassadors Web3 exploration into the unknown. Your favorite intergalactic dance floor general is back, and we've got a banger for you here today. We've actually got the Superf3st Superfam joining us today, and we've got Brian and David in the house in Nevada City, piping in hot. Let's just check in with the fellas. David, Brian, how are you today?
We're good. I'm good. Are you good? I'm good.
Yeah. Loaded up on the vitamin C.
Yeah, we just took some vitamins. We had a little downtime while Rick was coming on the Zoom call, and then we just decided to take vitamins. I got my shake.
I'm into it. And Brian, you got to attend a little festival not that long ago called Outside Lands. How was that?
It was amazing. It was actually pretty awesome to see such a big. I'm not used to bigger festivals, and it was cool to just see everything working well. Like it seems like at first glance it's like this could be a complete shit show, but like really like. It was just like everything was just like working, and it was cool to see. Yeah, we saw. I took my teenager down there, and we saw a couple of their favorite bands, and discovered some new bands that I hadn't heard of, and yeah, it was rad.
That's amazing. And David, I'm assuming you're getting stoked for your next trip, where it's up in Bellingham, Seattle, and Portland, right?
Yeah, it's always good to go up to the Pacific Northwest. Great audience, and just beautiful part of the country too. I'm sure Brian will come with me, and we'll probably have some nice hikes. Maybe go for a swim somewhere too.
Hell yeah.
I love it. Touch nature a little bit. Get the good vibes going. Right there, buddy. That's for you. Pick that up at a truck stop on a little TPA route. All right, well, let's not leave our folks hanging here. Let's bring in Rick Farman and Kerr to talk a little bit about the Superf3st project, and maybe we can even start with Rick and back up the story. You can go as far back as you want, but obviously Superfly, an incredible organization, responsible for some incredible curated shared experiences. So Rick, let's start with you. First off, how are you doing? Love the hat, by the way, and tell folks about yourself and about Superfly and what you're up to these days.
Well, thanks on the hat. My wife got it for me at the Outside Lands Marketplace, West Coast Craft. Shout out, and I love Big Sur very, very much. So I know that's why she got it for me. I'm doing good, man. It's a nice Friday afternoon here. Ready to wrap up the work week, and this is fun opportunity to get to hang with you all for a bit. Superfly, we are a very diversified experience company. We do all sorts of different types of experiences, from large scale festivals to all sorts of pop-up activations. We have a whole location-based business where we have experiences from IP that we've licensed, from film and television and music. And we've been doing this for over 25 years. So any kind of experience sort of fits within our mandate and our mission. And it's all with the idea that, experiences better people's lives. They have an impact on people in profound ways. And we love to create things that people get a lot of enjoyment out of, and that helps expand their minds around art and culture. And so we're very grateful that we get to do things that make people really happy at the end of the day. Part of our thing has always been that we're always trying to think about what's kind of new and what's next, and always thinking about where the trends are going, particularly relative to like media and entertainment media. And that's why the Web3 thing has been so interesting to us, and why we're psyched to be chatting with you all about that today.
That's amazing. And your story with Web3 got in a couple of years ago, right? I mean, you didn't just dip your toe in this 6 months ago. I think you've been an early observer, participant, and collaborating. I think I listened to spaces with Snowfro and, some of the Art Blocks gang, so like you're pretty tied into this community.
Yeah. And Eric's a new friend. I'm very grateful to have gotten connected to him recently. But yeah, I started actually advising a early NFT company through a mentorship program that I'm involved in. And that was sort of my first touch points with blockchain. I previously to that had spent a bunch of time really kind of trying to understand and study video game dynamics, because I knew that those things were affecting experience as more people are gaming, the sort of behaviors that are engaged in through gaming, started to manifest, I felt, in other types of experiences. And so I thought that was really interesting. We were doing some work at Superfly in the esports world, and so I was paying attention to that. And then I started to work with this company on an advisory basis that was doing NFTs and, putting their stuff on the blockchain. And that sort of transfer of like, people in these video game environments really value digital goods. And then here's this sort of new technology that can help these digital goods be, limited in quantity and transferable and interoperable and all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff became really fascinating to me. And so, through a network that I have of people who invest in different projects and are, people who have built, pretty successful tech businesses, I started to get access to invest in a few different things like Super Rare and Pixel Vault, and a variety of others. And so I started to really, learn what was going on in the space through just having some of the proximity to those businesses and meeting some of the people who created those businesses. And as I was kind of watching this stuff, I started to see some of it seep into direct kind of experience type things. One that I've referenced a lot as being inspirational to us is LinksDAO, and their community that has come together around a passion for golf and around a mission of owning a golf course together. And I thought, wow, that's really quite amazing. I also became part of, I bought the Wagami United Crawley NFT too, and I started to think about, oh wow, that's really cool that like fans are having an impact on what this English football club's all about. And naturally, my mind went to festivals and what we typically do, and thought, oh, maybe this is a different way to actually build and create a festival. It also, as Caroline knows, kind of picked up on a thread that we had thought about years earlier about kickstarting a festival. And the whole kind of concept around this thinking was that we typically do all of our work behind the curtain. We plan where we're going to do something, what it's going to be like, who's going to play it, what's the brand, the ticket prices, everything. And then we sort of release it out into the world and hope anybody cares about it. And there became a point, a bunch of years ago where I started to really think about, well, what if we could do it another way? What if we could actually, see if people wanted to do what we were thinking first. And if they did, they would kind of crowdfund it, they'd Kickstarter it, and then we'd actually do it. And so when I started to see some of these experience projects, using, the tools that are available in Web3 to do something similar, it really piqued my interest. And we just kind of started going down the rabbit hole of, okay, how would we do this? And how would we build a community? We also had the great fortune of meeting one of our team members, Corey Nako, through some other work that we were doing. And he is somebody who had gone really deep into the Web3 environment and was a big fan of our festivals. And so that was really great to get somebody's perspective who was full on, degenning in the moment, really understood what was going on, with how people were engaging with projects like this. And so he kind of came over and joined our team and became became a founder of Superf3st. And so we started to kind of architect what the best opportunity to do this looked like. And that's the mission that we're on with Superf3st, is to essentially create a festival in that fashion, one that really has both input from the fans, but also input from artists, and to help us really inform what a next generation festival can look like.
Well, it's a beautiful segue, maybe over to Caroline to talk about, you can't do this alone. So it's great that you're bringing in, brilliant people, professionals with, expertise in different domains, and really kind of imagining and building new things. So Caroline, maybe, love to kind of hear your role in the organization, what got you excited about this project, and what maybe excites you in particular about, collaborating with artists like TPA.
Yeah, right on. Well, thanks for having us, guys. We appreciate it. Exciting to be talking with one of our artist founders about what we're up to here. So we, in terms of the artists and what I'm doing, are really striving to pull in not only artists that we've seen pioneering in the space with other projects or participation within other projects, but really hoping to create a platform for them to come and create on. I think one thing that interests us the most is working with artists to help them do things a little bit differently than they typically would, and ultimately strive to kind of create this relationship that's a little less transactional than your typical plug and play into a festival or other projects that you would, do that surround experiences. So really allowing, artists and allowing and encouraging artists to have, some sort of say and agency and ultimately what this thing is going to become. And, I think we've, initially pitched this as more of a one-time annual celebration, and that, through some work with the community over the past 60 days has really actually shifted into more of a always on festival environment, and how we can, have multiple touch points, whether it's at artist shows throughout the year, certain tours, events surrounding new releases, and then of course this annual moment where we still come together and celebrate. So I think ultimately what I'm doing is working with artists to find in where we can plug and play some interesting new ideas, and really work with them to be a little less precious about testing out things that might be crossing their minds, that they want to see manifested in either virtual or in real life experiences.
Love that. And,
yeah.
And maybe, I could throw it over to David, as you hear Rick and Caroline kind of talk about, this dream of building a fan-driven, creative shared experience, just kind of reflecting on our journey kind of into the Web3 space, but then also more recently, you booting up the Beat Garden, starting a music production course. Like, it just feels like artists and fans are collaborating in completely new ways that just weren't possible a couple of years ago. So just curious if you wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, it is an exciting time. And when we first started talking about Web3 and NFTs, I was definitely ignited in a way that I haven't been in quite a long time. I think for me, TPA for a long time has been kind of like sorry, Rick and what was
Caroline.
it? And Caroline. TPA has been sort of an exploration of my creativity, but also an exploration of just how to look at possibilities of doing things in a different way, in a new way. We did the action days for a couple tours where we invited fans to come out after a show, and they would actually get their hands in the earth in some sort of participatory project for a nonprofit in whatever city we would go into. And then we did a tour where we encouraged fans to write to venues and say, hey, please also carry non-alcoholic beverages. I mean, I love a tequila for sure, but I thought hey, why not see if we can get fans involved in a unique way to try to drive some cool missions here. And I kind of feel the same way about NFTs, but it's almost just taking it to another level that potentially could be a lot easier to scale, I guess, and to offer fans and artists unique ways of contributing to something, sort of like a festival. It seems really, I kind of look at that in two ways. For me, it's like, you don't necessarily want to give fans or artists too much say, because at the end of the day, it's you guys that are doing the work, right? So you're going to have to implement the things that these artists and fans are wanting. But at the same time, how cool would it be to like have fans be able to say, I helped design the stage at Superfest or whatever, or I contributed some visuals to the visual performance at Superfest. And in the same way, I think artists can generate ideas as well, and maybe artists can contribute other things beyond their performance itself, you know, by way of ideas or by way of sending fans to do a certain task at the festival or something, you know. Yeah, it feels this whole thing that you guys are trying to do with the festival feels, as far as I've heard, you guys are the first ones exploring this terrain, and for me it feels yeah, just super exciting to be a very small part of it.
Well, it's good to hear. We're certainly exploring a range of options for artists to come and work with us. And, you know, it falls into the festival, but also outside of it, right? So everything from both virtual and real life experiences to digitalized products, it's all things we're interested in. And I think, you know, yes, we are the facilitators and the producers still, but we are really going to be drawing quite a bit from, you know, artist-centric votes, fan-centric votes. We've heard a lot of cool ideas about different ways that fans would want to get involved, even down to song production, right? We have an artist in our community by the name of Vandalux who wants to see fans suggest different collaborations on song production from artists in our community. And I think, you know, that gets us fired up, because one thing Superfly has done really well for a long time is really incorporate this idea of cross-disciplinary programming into all of our experiences, as well as unique collaborations. So, you know, our artist founder community technically does involve everything from musicians to visual artists, photographers, videographers, spoken word poets, all different kinds of creators. And I think what we're really going to try and do, and what's going to be our bread and butter here, is using the fans to help inspire us and tell us what they want to see in terms of unique collaborations that could manifest in everything from, you know, an audio reactive live performance that a visual artist and a musician put together, or even, you know, an NFT project that is dropped under our Curiosity program. So I think, you know, yes, we are the facilitators, but again, we are really going to try and use these engagement mechanisms that have been served up through these new paradigms of Web3 and fully leverage them to be able to initiate things like fan voting and, you know, using different inspiration and ideas from our artists to really drive what fans want to see and what they want out of their experiences, as well as what artists want out of their experiences, and hopefully create, you know, a better system throughout, right? That really, like, the defining moment will be when the fans, the producers, and the artists can all work together to create something and all share in a piece of it as well.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, you know, Rick, I know we don't have you all afternoon here, but, you know, man, you've been in this space for a long time, kind of walking, I imagine, that creative tension between what you think the fans want and maybe what the producers or creatives want to build. And so as you march into Superfest, deeper into this project, and by the way, this is what, 30 days old or something? I mean, I remember minting back in like mid-July or something like that. I got my Super pass, but I mean, this is early days, but do you think the NFT or Web3 dynamics change anything about what you've already learned and built kind of in real life? Or or how are you and the team kind of walking that balance between the creatives and the fans?
Yeah, I think one way to think about it is that what we're hoping for at like a baseline, what would be success here is at least an incremental change in the relationship between the artists, the audience, and us as producers. We hope to make it just a little bit less transactional, because that's kind of how it exists today, right? Typically people pay us for something that we're presenting to them, and we pay artists for something that they're doing. That's their thing, right? And what our goal here really is to make that relationship just feel a little bit more collaborative and have points of things that are, community opportunities to come together and create. And so what a big part of our job is to create the paradigms for that to happen, right? To create the different tracks by which, hey, artist can seek input from our community into something that they're doing, or we can go to our community and say, hey, let's think about something that we could, that would be an element of our event that we can ask artists to participate in. I'll give an example, like something like a theme for the festival each year, or a theme for a particular experience. That's the kind of thing that, if a community decided, hey, this is what we want as our theme, then we could go to artists and say, who are part of that community, and say, okay, whatever you're doing at Superfest, do something that helps further that theme in some small or a big way. And we know that the challenge here is around making this easy and making it, that people don't have to put in a ton of effort or think super hard about it, both from the artist to the audience. We obviously want to super serve the people who do want to really engage and go deep, and the artists who feel like this is a platform for experimentation and collaboration and trying new things. But we also need to make it so people who in their busy lives don't have to, think about 10 things, but maybe can, vote on something or suggest something that, like you said, when they show up at a Superfest event, they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like I had a little bit of impact on that. That was that. I saw the community choose that. I saw the artists ask the community for that. I saw the community ask the artists for that. And that actually manifested into something different. The highest form of what we do as producers of experiences is when we can have an impact that makes what the presentation of what people are seeing is that because we helped facilitate something that wouldn't have happened if we didn't provide that facilitation. That's such a thing that in our past, every time we've done something where we've asked artists or we've asked audiences to engage in some sort of thing that had an impact on the net result of what we're doing, that's the stuff that always stuck and lit everybody up and really defined, Superfly in many ways. And so that's our mission here, is really to just kind of make those opportunities available, to make it easy, and to, again, make that like relationship a little bit, beyond being just transactional.
I love that. Hey, I got to flip it over to our Corey Nacco, Brian Parks, our project leader on our Web3 side. So, hey man, you sitting here listening into this convo, what's on your mind? I mean, as a musician, as a builder in this space, as somebody who's, played all those roles of, fan, producer to, creative, like what's on your mind as you listen to this?
I'm sort of curious what your guys' vision for, so are we talking about a yearly, Superfest will be a yearly festival? Is that basically what we're, and I guess my other question is like when and where, is that not decided yet?
So the way to think about this is that we just don't know. That's the beauty and the craziness of it, and the excitement and the thing that's scary about it is it's really not for us to decide, right? It's for the community to decide, and we're not there yet, right? We just formed the community. We're actually not even closing our mint, so anybody that's interested in joining can still come to Superfest. That's with a 3, so SUPERF3ST .xyz and go mint to pass right now and join the community. Anybody can still do that. Once we kind of close that up, then we'll go deeper into the planning and decision making. And actually, what will happen first is a bunch of education on kind of peeling back some of that curtain about how this all works, right? And one thing that we're already starting to work on is our values, which help us directionally decide what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. I'll give an example of that too. One of our values that we have suggested to the community is accessibility, right? Well, if you and we think that's an important part of Web3, right? Is to make things that are accessible and in a sense, also decentralized too. So whether this manifests as a actual physical gathering that everybody goes to every year, we don't know. I mean, that we assume and we believe that the community wants that, right? They want some sort of central gathering that brings everybody together. And whether that happens, once a year, whether it happens a couple times a year, whether it happens every other year, we don't know how the community is going to want to, essentially use the resources of the community. But, the idea, I think, around, some of the concepts that fit with Web3 are that we want things that people can experience in multiple different ways. We want things that are portable and interoperable, that have the capacity to interact with as many people as possible. One project that has actually been a good inspiration for this that I'll call out for a second is Bright Moments. And we have some connective tissue to them through some of our artist founders and stuff, but it's a really cool thing that they've been doing. And they've been doing these events where the kind of community votes on sort of which city, in what order they want to go. And so they've already done something in, I believe, London and Berlin and Mexico City. And, they're keeping their same concept and format, but they're just taking that around to different places. That's an interesting thing for something like Superfest, right? And so, we understand that everybody wants to sort of know the basics of where is this going to be and when is it going to be. But I think that's actually the point, and it's sort of the antithetical a little bit to sort of how projects are being built in Web3. We're not going to know those answers for a little while. We all have to create, what we think is the best way that Superfest gets represented and the ideals of it and the concept of it. And so that's the exciting journey that we're on.
Yeah, and I love that you're starting with the vision, the values. I mean, this is how Web2 companies are successful. And we've certainly had conversations with David and Brian and Jake and the larger team about, run this like a business. Don't run this like a, a quick cash grab hype cycle. There are projects in the NFT world that can disappoint you very quickly. So I love that you're taking a patient approach that's community led. All of this feels like, the right sort of ethos.
Thanks.
Look, I'm sure you all have questions for TPA or us as well. So I don't want to hog the mic. Maybe I can flip it back to you all.
I've got one for TPA.
Yeah.
And it's the question that Caroline and I love to ask any artist. And this is one of the things that I think we really feel is going to be a central part of Superfest, which is collaboration. And one of the questions that, it kind of has defined my interactions with artists over the years, and Caroline's, picked up on this, is asking the question of who do you want to collaborate with? Whether it's a visual artist or another musician. Like, part of our job here around Superfest is to be the bridge. And that's why we've created this artist community of different artists who have decided, hey, I want to engage in this, because this is an opportunity to create an artist community and collaborate with other artists. And so I'll put that question out there, sky's the limit kind of thing. Like who would you, be just super amped up to be able to collaborate with?
Awesome. Thanks for asking that. Well, I would say that so I'm a big underground hip hop guy. I have been for many years even before I started doing electronic music. So I've collaborated with quite a few of my favorites, like Kool Keith, Mr. Liff, The Grouch.
Right.
The list goes on, Nitty Scott. But there's one guy that I have not been able to get for some reason, and it's Del the Funky Homo Sapien. I don't know. I just think he's the best. Or not the best, but all these rappers are the best in their own unique way. They're all hugely talented, but for whatever reason, Del struck a chord with me in college, and I kind of feel like the style of music that I make actually really would go well with his lyricism. So that's one that I've knocked on his door a few times, and I got kind of like a half response one time way back when, and it was like, yeah, maybe we'll think about it. And then since then, there hasn't really been. It's been kind of crickets, and I feel like
it makes sense because you're a male model, right?
Well, I fancy myself as a bit of a sex symbol.
I love that answer also because I love that answer also because my youngest son is named Del. And, Del, and people ask me why. I don't know. There are a lot of cool Dels: Del McCory, Del Curry, Del the Funky Homo Sapiens. So
very strong name.
Nice.
I'm actually really excited to hear that, just because hip hop is a big focus of ours right now. I think one thing that's been really interesting in cultivating the artist community so far is that we're finding naturally a lot of the artists work in electronic music. I think electronic music as a genre has always been at the forefront of creative music tech, which is why it's not surprising that so many of them have transitioned so seamlessly into this Web3 space. But I think we're finding that hip hop has not come into this space as fluidly or broadly. And I think a big focus of mine specifically right now is to bring more hip hop acts into this project. We've had some good ones involved already. Artists who's really shown some amazing swag in Web3 so far by the name of Cam Murdoch. Unusual Demont. We've got some more coming in here, but I think that doing a TPA focused show that almost including multiple hip hop artists and was really the theme of whatever you were to do there is really outstanding to me. And then taking it one step further and maybe working with a visual artist or someone that does stage visuals for hip hop app, really blending the two genres together in terms of what you're seeing visually as well could be really, really cool. Maybe it's even a brand new set. People are freestyling. I mean, my mind's already jumping, but I'll put in a call to Del, see where we go.
Cool. Sounds great.
Nice. Aren't you glad you joined the podcast now, David?
I mean, that's what we're trying to do with this thing, in so many ways is make some dreams happen, right? We know a lot of our super pass holders, it's a dream to be able to be involved in creating a festival. Very few people get the opportunity to do that. And we're trying to open that up, that opportunity to thousands of people and hopefully a larger community of music fans and festival fans who want to support artists and things like that into the tens and thousands, hundreds of thousands of millions of people. Hopefully that's what we create here. And on the artist side, it's really about creating a community of artists, again, that have the opportunity through that to make some dreams happen for them. And, hopefully we'll be manifesting a whole bunch of that here.
Yeah, and cultivating the community that will support you and rally around you in terms of new releases, tours, being able to test things out in the Discord if you want, and showing up to your performances. I think that we want you to feel like the community of passionate music fans and arts fans that we're really garnering right now is going to, be there to support your career and help better it altogether. So I think once it all comes to full term, it's going to be a pretty special project, and part of the fun is the journey and getting there, of course. But
and a great shout out there to Cam. And I'm struck by, one of my unrequited loves, Koopa Troopa. I got to bring him up in every episode, but I still swear to God, I remember this quote where, he's saying 3 years ago, there were 50 music artists in the space,
yeah,
like a year ago, there's like 500. So like, I've been in spaces with Cam, right? Now it's 5,000, then it's 50. Like, it is going to take this exponential journey. And it's just so cool to be on the front end of this thing, where it still is intimate. And again, I can sit across a laptop from a guy like Rick, who's had a prolific career. And I just feel lucky and a lot of gratitude for sitting here and seeing just the positivity and the creative energy that is in front of us. So again, just want to thank you all for this great conversation. I think maybe this is a good spot to close, but I don't know, we can maybe run around the horn. David, Brian, Caroline, Rick, any closing thoughts or any things that you'd like to leave our listeners with? Maybe we could start with Rick. We'll just go around the horn.
This was a lot of fun. Great to get to know you all. And, again, hopefully this is just a basis for some of these collaborative opportunities together. So it'll be fun. Hopefully we'll look back on this and be like, oh, we talked about this on that podcast and it happened. So
love it, man. And hey, a little hat tip to D Fresh, who I think you actually met at Outside Land. So he was the one who put us onto your project. So
I did. Good guy, man. It was really, we had a fun hang at Outside Lands, and
that's awesome, man.
Grateful to have his energy in our community for sure.
Yeah, he's a real hustler, do or die. Well, for me, TPA, it was nice to meet face to face. I have listened to Let the Rhythm Just quite a few times in my day, since I was like, in high school, probably. That was just an absolute banger, and it's what helped me fall in love with your music. I'm hearing the hip hop, and I need to dig in some more there, but yeah, it's a pleasure. And of course, to sit across from this living legend of Rick Farman as well, who I get to see every day. But it's fun to come together in spaces like this and remember just how cool he is. So thank you for the reminder. Adam, or it was nice to meet both of you, Adam and Brian as well.
Great to meet you as well. How about we go Brian next, and then we can finish with the man himself.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, ever since we started this project with David, and we haven't done any crazy marketing, and it's sort of been word of mouth. We've just sort of let the things come in that felt right, that felt really good. Like, it didn't feel, like I said, cash grabby and all that stuff. And it's just nice to be here with y'all and just feel that like this is the right sort of alignment, that feels really good. And thanks for joining us. We're really grateful.
Nice.
David,
Yeah.
how about yourself?
Yeah, just to sort of echo those sentiments, I guess it's been an interesting journey exploring Web3 and NFTs over maybe the past 6 months to a year with these guys. And if I'm being honest, I've had some extreme excitement and belief and possibility around it, and then in 48 hours it tanks when I see other aspects of the space. And then I have a conversation with someone like D Fresh, and I'm like reignited again. And then I see, like, I don't know, the darker side again 48 hours later, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I guess like where I'm going with that is I'm having a moment with you guys where I'm feeling re-inspired again. It's for me, it feels like I may be wrong about this, but in my my heart, or just like my ecosystem of David, it feels to me like the NFT world is going to need to graduate from primarily like a gambling thing to a community-driven thing being the leading aspect of it, for it to become more widely adopted. And I kind of see that you guys are doing that, and that feels really cool to me, and that gets me more excited about joining up with folks like you guys.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you all for joining us here today. The listeners, of course, thank you for taking time out of your hard-earned day to join us and listen in on this conversation. You don't have a Superfest pass. What the hell are you doing? You're sleeping. Again, you heard it here on this show. They are available. I've got one. We've got one, I believe, in our community wallet. So, again, check out field trips, check out, of course, the Bonnaroos, the outside limbs. There's just so much goodness happening already and building on, so much potential. So again, thanks for tuning in again. Again, I'm Dojo, community manager of the Ambasstronauts fan club, and we'll catch you next time.